great. If not, we understand, okay?
Sure.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so we are going to take off.
They were still the Indians when you were there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Go Indians!
You'll understand that in a minute. And Bruce McGowan.
Go Cincinnati Reds.
Okay, we are.
There you
Yes,
go.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, we are on the phone here with Brian Price, who's the new manager of the Cincinnati Reds, replacing Dusty Baker. Brian, welcome to Sports Econ 101.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
We appreciate it. Okay, so now I want to ask you a few questions here, and I know the guys do too. How much pressure? No, that's not the one I want to ask. Here it is. If a setup guy is mowing guys down, would you leave him in to finish the game, or would you bring in your closer? You know what I mean? Because it's like the egos of the closers. You know, before Eggersley.
What a way to start the questions off.
How do you like that?
Yeah,
right?
I like that. Yeah, right on the boxer, you're hitting Brian.
Wow, gee, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is all stuff you're going to get in the spring.
No, yeah. I guess because you're a pitching coach for a long time, and then now you're manager.
So, yeah. Well, you know what? Anymore, the game's been fairly well compartmentalized into roles, and I think that's really what you're talking about now. Is ego suggests that safe situations are pitched by the closer, unless you've used him, 3 or 4 days in a row, and you feel like you need to give him a day off. And so it's kind of a reward for the position. You got to realize also that along the way, if you save 40 games and you blow 5, those 5 stay with you.
Mm.
The guys say all they want. Well, I try to leave them at the ballpark, go home, and come back fresh. But it's pretty tough to be the guy that ends up being involved in the loss, especially in the last inning. So those save opportunities are pretty special. So if I got a closer that's fresh, chances are he's going to be in the ballgame.
Hey, speaking of the guy, you may not be able to even answer this until you get full throttle into it. But my first thought when you got named the new skipper of the Reds, oh my gosh, he's got to go from one room where he's changing with the rest of the coaches into an office of his own. I mean, you're kind of the guy following the guy, but it's what you've dreamed of your entire life, right?
Well, it's a chance to pull out the most inspirational award that I won at CAM back in 1990.
That's right.
What the audience doesn't know here is that we're all Marin County guys.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of great.
It is funny. I told my wife that the first time I was in Cincinnati when I was named the manager, I walked into the manager's office, but I didn't sit in the chair. And then the last time I was there this past week was the first time I actually sat in the chair because it felt kind of like hallowed ground, So, there's a lot of things that go with it. When you're doing these things for the first time, that it's pretty special and very surreal. But after a while, it's going to blow over. I'm not the type of guy to really get caught up in all that stuff.
How tough was it to take over for Dusty, though? Because he's a beloved figure out here, and Vern and I both got to know Dusty quite well, covering him on a regular basis when he was with the Giants for those 10 years. And I know he did such a great job in Cincinnati, and I know you have mixed feelings about seeing him move on. I mean, it's a great opportunity for you, but at the same time, I mean, this is a guy who was kind of like a big brother to you, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Well, it's always hard to celebrate something personally when a friend of yours has been affected in a way negatively. And so that was probably the most difficult part of this whole transition. And I think one of the things, unfortunately, that gets lost in this transition is the impact that Dusty had on the Reds organization, from an organization that went 15 consecutive years without a postseason appearance to 3 appearances in 4 years, in the last 4 years. So, he did more than his job in really changing the culture of the organization and righting the ship and getting us in a good direction. And certainly I'm the one that's going to be the benefactor of inheriting a really good team.
Well, if you walked through his house in Granite Bay and saw the size of it, you might not feel as bad.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for Dusty. So Brian, you were a pitching coach yourself. So how much influence are you going to have on the new pitching coach?
We hired Jeff Pico, who was a guy I knew from my days with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's a real sharp guy and ready for his first opportunity as a big league pitching coach. The one thing I wanted to make sure that Jeff understood when we went through the interview process is that we feel like we have a good system in place for the pitchers. For someone to come in and completely change the philosophies and the protocols and things of that nature. I don't think it would go over terribly well because we have pitched pretty well here the last few years, and I would like to continue that. That being said, as Jeff gets acclimated in the position, he's not going to benefit from me constantly, looking over his shoulder and trying to nudge him into doing the things that I want him to do. He has to kind of cultivate an environment that's successful under his guidance. And I'm going to encourage him to do that. He knows that he has some autonomy in the position, and I see him taking us to a completely different level from a pitching perspective.
Hey, here's one for you. When you get to Arizona and you have that first clubhouse meeting before the boys, run out there for that first spring training session, what have you thought about? I guess maybe your approach, your speech, the message that you really want to hammer home and deliver to maybe kind of put your own little stamp on this edition of the Cincinnati Reds.
Sure, when you're going to interview for a position like this, you have to have a pre-established message, and it wasn't one that I really had to cultivate, over a day or two in preparation for an interview. It's something that you cultivate over years and years of doing your job. And I have 30 years in professional baseball, and I've already cultivated my ideas on what I think is important, and things that are important are accountability, preparation, energy, and effort, and those things show up every day. And you have a great season, you can still lose 62 or 72 games in a season and still have a great year and still win a World Series. But being able to follow those guidelines and that mantra is the hardest thing to do over the 162 game season. Don't forget, we've got 45 days of spring training before the regular season starts. So really bringing the players in on it, getting an understanding and appreciation of where we all are and what our goals are, being able to coordinate that not just as a manager, but as a coach or a leader of the coaching staff, and then getting the players on board to where they're echoing the same sentiments, that there's some consistency between what we all want to accomplish. And now we can hold each other accountable when those times come when we're not getting the effort or the energy or the preparation that we all desire or need, to reach our potential. Instead of just having one voice, you might have several in the clubhouse that are kind of pushing the guys that might be starting to fluff off a little bit back into the right direction.
Hey, in layman terms, does the fringe, maybe Cincinnati Reds fans, just kind of look at it and chuckle and go, hey, congratulations on getting the job. Now just go ahead and just finish ahead of the Cardinals, will you?
and the Pirates.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's a tough division you're in.
You just got Jay Bell, didn't you?
No, I'll tell you, it's a tough division, and I think when push comes to shove, and the one thing that I know is the only thing that you can do your best to try to guarantee, and that is the things that I just mentioned. Is coming to the ballpark and giving a full day's work and bringing your energy and your preparation to the ballpark every day, and I think that resonates. Look, fans want to win, we get that, but you also have to buy into what you see on the field, and that type of effort resonates with fans, especially fans in Cincinnati that are coming out to spend their hard-earned cash to watch us play. And we can't take plays off. We can't take innings or games off. We have to be there every day and provide an effort that's worthy of these people coming out and paying the money to watch us play.
And Brian, if you could stay with us just a couple of minutes. We're going to cut to a first commercial break. We're going to come right back to Brian Price, who is the new Cincinnati Reds manager, if I remember correctly. That's the first professional baseball team. Okay.
Look at all the knowledge of the host.
Hey,
Look at that.
1869.
There you
go.
And you know what they were called? They were called the
Cincinnati
Cincinnati
Red
Red
Stockings. Yes.
Yes.
In fact, they used to play the first game of every year. The first games always had to be the Reds until a couple of years ago.
There you go.
Okay, first commercial break. The theme is Rose Bowl history, since we're ready for some serious college
All
football.
right.
We're talking about the Rose Bowl here. From 1947 to 2001, what was the only one of the 21 schools in the Big Ten and Pac-10 that never played in the Rose Bowl?
That never played.
Never played.
From
From 1947 to 2001. Again, the first three callers.
47 to 2001.
First callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. From 1947 to 2001, what was the only one of the 21 schools in the Big Ten and Pac-10 that never played the Rose Bowl. 888-660-4495. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with Brian Price of the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow, what is that?
Washington State or Oregon State?
I'm telling you.
Brian, you know?
I'm gonna say Washington State or Oregon State, just because I'm more of a Pac-12 guy. But I know Cal got in there.
Cal got in there, yeah.
And Stanford, of course, has been in three. And USC, UCLA, obviously.
And what I'm going to do, Brian, here, I'm just
it's got to be a Big Ten school.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And then we'll just ask you a couple more questions. We'll let you go, okay?
I'm going to say Oregon State.
What about Northwestern? Ooh, that could be a 47-01 North. I mean, they've been losing for so long.
Jeez. I'm going to say Oregon State.
That would be the Beavers, wouldn't it?
The Beavers. The Beavs.
Okay.
Boy, that's a tough one.
I'm probably wrong.
Okay, you want to
Can't wait to hear the answer.
You got any answers there, Brian?
I got nothing for you.
and you'll like it.
And you'll like it. That's
nothing
right.
for you, and you'll like it.
That's right.
Okay, ready?
Okay,
Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Bruce Swindell.
Oh, yes.
Okay, when we cut to the first commercial break, the theme is the Rose Bowl. We're talking specifically 1947 to 2001. What was the only one of 21 schools in the Big Ten and the Pac-10 that never played the Rose Bowl?
I was going to say Oregon State.
Oregon State, wrong.
I'm going Northwestern.
Northwestern, wrong.
Washington State.
No, Arizona.
Arizona.
Never would have
Put
guessed
on your
it.
Indian shoes. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Brian Price.
The spring training destination.
That's right. Yeah,
Or yes,
figured it out. So we have Brian Price, the new manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
Who went to Tam High School in Mill Valley.
That's right. Yeah, we're all Marin County.
Back when it was the Tamalpais Indians.
That's right. And did you know that Tam has turned out the likes of Major League Baseball great Sam Chapman, Hollywood actress Eve Arden. We've got a Pulitzer Prize winner of the Quicksilver Messenger Service.
Right, real quick. The center fielder for the Brewers, Niger Morgan, right?
Niger Morgan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, Brian, let me ask you, because this was a big thing out here with when Buster Posey got hit. What's your feeling about protecting catchers with collisions at home plate?
Well, it's funny because not having to put on the gear, it's really easy for me I would prefer to stay somewhat traditional here. I think that the issue for me, certainly, obviously, is the health of the catchers. It's just one of those catch-22 situations because, it's like what they're trying to do in football. I mean, these are contact sports. Could you put a screen in front of the pitcher so he doesn't get hit with a line drive? We're getting extremely reactionary to these things to the point where the game, I think, is going to stop looking like what we expected to, what we've been comfortable looking at. My issue, of course, is going to be the fact that, there's going to be plays where the catcher's trying to stay out of the way, but the throw takes him up to the end of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And if that dictates that now the base runner is forced to run around him and his momentum takes him behind or past home plate, makes it an easy play for the catcher, I think that's an unfair advantage for the defense. So, listen, that was a gruesome injury with Buster Posey. I really felt bad for both the guys involved in that play. However, to me, it's a part of the business. It's a part of what makes the game exciting. It's a part of that makes the game work. It seems to me that this is what allows the game to work the way that it does. And I wouldn't change it myself.
Hey, I got to ask you, you've got some great athletes on your team. The guy that always impresses me, because he's such a freak of nature, is this tall left-handed pitcher,
Aroldis Chapman?
Aroldis Chapman.
Man, I would not want to get hit by one of those. Oh, my God.
Tell us a little bit about this guy, because he looks like he's cut from a different cloth. I mean, he's scary out there. The guy's about 6'9", and throws a fastball upwards of 100 miles
an hour. Hundreds?
I mean, have you ever seen it? He's almost a freak of nature.
Yeah, he's extremely special talent, and he's actually a bit more compact than he looks. He looks like he's about 6'9". He's about 6'4".
Really?
He throws. He's typically between 98, 102, 103. Wow. I mean, he throws the ball as hard as anybody I've ever seen. He is. It's just special. It's just something you just don't ever anticipate being able to be involved with in this profession. As good as these guys are, very rarely do you get a chance to be around a Miguel Cabrera or an Albert Pujols or an Aroldis Chapman, and they're just special. They're different, and you can't put your finger on it. It's just, you know, lightning bolts come out of the fingertips when he lets the ball.
I was going to say, is he easy to work with? Is he pretty receptive? Nice kid, nice young man?
Yeah, you know what? It's a little different. I think coming from Cuba, certainly was quite a bit more reserved coming over, and then immediately, you know, having some money and some certain and access to things that he hadn't had before. He ran with it. You know, he was like a teenager getting his first set of car keys.
Well, no wonder. I mean, he punched out a guy, and if it was an excitable big time, he'd do like a little somersault to kind of. I mean, that didn't last very long, but I mean, it was fun to watch.
I remember that happened once, and we had a very, very serious discussion about that.
Yes, you did. But Brian, I was going to ask you, how's the transition going from being the pitching coach, you know these guys, going into being the manager versus just bringing in some fresh blood? How do you think it's working with the players so far?
Well, I think it's good, and you know, look, the game's different than it was, you know, 20 or 30, 40, 50 years ago. I mean, the relationships now are relationships that are cultivated as opposed to times dictatorial, you know, where you just say, hey, this is what you're going to do, this is how we do things, just get it done. You have to cajole the guys, they have to be a part of the process, and I think leadership now looks a little different than it did back in the day, where you had a little bit more control over the players. You're dealing with guys that have long-term contracts, making a lot of money. You know, the or else that the parents used to drop on us as kids, or as coaches used to in lower high school and college, and even in the minor league, is different. Because your or else doesn't have a lot of impact. So you've got to find ways to get these guys on the same page to stay motivated and really dangle a carrot of, you know, of achieving something as a group instead of as an individual.
You ever feel like a big babysitter?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think there's still a lot to do in a leadership role as a manager, and a lot of it is setting protocols and holding guys accountable to it. But you can't do it in the same way. You can't embarrass guys. You know, you used to be able to, you know, embarrass a guy. Yeah, I have the Billy Martin, Reggie Jackson. Those just don't happen much anymore. And when you do, it's time to lose the team, you know, because no one wants to be embarrassed on a national stage.
And is the ownership and the general manager going to pretty much let you do what you want?
Yeah, they have. They have up to this point. They gave me a lot of autonomy in the hiring of the coaching staff. We're not a micromanaging type of a deal. They're not insisting that I run with all the sabermetrics, statistical data. They're not going to send down a lineup before the game that I have to follow, or tell me how I have to use the bullpen or pinch hitters. That's up to me. So, and as it should be, in my opinion. You hire a manager to manage. You don't hire him to be a puppet. So,
You mean the Moneyball movie isn't real?
You know, one of the guys that really intrigues me in your team, and he's so underrated as far as the national scene goes. Well, anybody who follows baseball knows this guy's a great player, Joey Votto. Tell us a little story about Joey Votto, because to me, he's one of those kind of below-the-radar guys in terms of his personality, because he's playing in Cincinnati. He's just a good, hard-nosed player. But he seems like he's a pretty down-to-earth guy. Can you tell us little stories about him? You've gotten to know him a little bit.
Yeah, no, he's terrific. You know, he's from Toronto, Canada, and he's a super kid. He's very cerebral. I'll tell you this, he realized that quite often when we meet on the mound for discussion with the pitcher, if it's with Chapman, quite often we don't have anybody on the infield that speaks Spanish, including myself when I would make a mound visit. And he hired a tutor and learned in about 4 or 5 weeks he could be fluent in Spanish.
Wow.
So he's fluent in English, French, and Spanish, and he chose to do that for the betterment of our communication, his communication with our Latin players, but our communication also there when we need to make a mound visit.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's
Sounds like
awesome.
a really good guy.
Yeah.
Terrific guy. Great guy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just have to draw pictures. Anything else you guys want to ask?
I'm circling June 26th. That's when the Reds come to town to play the Giants, and you've been back here to the Bay Area a jillion times, but for the first time as manager back in the Bay Area. How will it be emotional from you? I mean, I know you're a guy that doesn't get too high, too low, but if you could kind of share with us, if you could look forward 6-7 months down the road here?
Yeah, you know, I think coming back, I always dreamed that I would someday be the great pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. that boat sailed. So, you know, it's always fun to come back, and of course, it's always fun to win there. And even, you know, even my best of friends in the Bay Area still haven't turned to Reds fans. You know, when you're a Giants fan, it's like you're a Giants fan for life.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I still love the Big Red
Certainly
Machine.
be some emotion being there. My dad passed in August of 2012. It would have been really a highlight for me to be able to take the field as manager with him in attendance. And for whatever reason, I keep thinking he'd still be cheering for the Giants. It's dynamic in our family. So, anyway, it's going to be neat.
Brian, before we let you go, I got to ask you one quick question about a game, and it's probably one of the greatest games I've ever seen. The last game of the playoffs against the Giants a couple years ago when they won the World Series, they had to beat you guys 3 in a row to get there. In the last game, I think Jay Bruce had a 13-pitch at bat where he represented either the tying or the winning run against Sergio Romo. What was that game like to be just to be sitting in the dugout with all at stake and every pitch was
You have any
just
fingernails left?
yeah, 13 pitch at bat.
Yeah.
I mean, he fouled off I think 10 pitches did Jay Bruce before he finally, I think he popped out to end the inning.
Yeah, he popped out, and then I think we had Scott Rowland.
That's right.
Made the last
Struck out, yeah.
So there was one out. It would have been a home run, would have won the game.
Yeah.
And he had a great at bat, and he was right on some pitches and fouled them off. And, you know, it was the thing about that game, of course, is we were down 6-0. You know, Posey hit a grand slam in the 5th or the 6th to make it 6-0. And so we came back to make it 6-4. Their bullpen had been awesome in that series up to that point, and we were able to kind of break through a little bit and got to that, you know, 2 guys on, 1 out, and Jay was up there, and I was going, man, this would be so great if he could hit one right here. It would be one of the greatest moments of all time.
Well, it's the third basis coach for not giving him the signal for his home run.
He fouled him back and then ended up popping up.
Yeah.
Great. Brian Price, the new manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Brian, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
All right, see ya.
Take care, Brian.
Okay, that was Brian Price. That was awesome. Okay, guys, very quick question here. We got to cut to another commercial break. And again, the theme is where they ended their careers. No, that was last time. Okay, I'm sorry. This is some serious football here. Along with USC's John McKay, which head coach shared the record for the most consecutive Rose Bowl appearances? Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Along with USC's John McKay, which head coach shared the record for most
Head coach of USC or
along with USC's John McKay,
okay.
Which head coach shared the record for most consecutive bowl appearances? 888-660-4495. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back.
Who was it that hadn't been in the Rose Bowl all those years? Who was it? Oh, that's right, Arizona. I'm going to say either Schembechler or Woody Hayes. One of those
consecutive bowl appearances.
Because those guys, it was either Michigan or Ohio State.
What about like Bear Bryant?
You know the rules. I don't tell you until you get up there.
Rose Bowl? Well, Bear Bryant.
Wait, in the Rose Bowl?
Rose Bowl.
Or
Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl? I thought it was just bowl appearances.
I'm going to say either Woody Hayes
Rose Bowl appearances.
Either Schembechler or Woody Hayes. Because Michigan and Ohio State were in a bunch of times. So this year it's going to be Stanford and Michigan State. Or Michigan.
No, Michigan State.
I was going to say Schembechler coached Michigan. That should be a great game.
That was good, the interview.
Yeah,
He was good. Nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
See, I always give the signals like this one on third base. It means hit a home run.
Hit a home run.
Yeah,
Come on.
easy.
That was an amazing at bat. I remember just sitting there, standing in front of my TV. Come on, do something. Get him to swing and miss a pitch.
I remember watching and just going, oh my gosh, Posey. I mean, all he has to do is hit a grand slam.
All he has to do.
That's all he has to do.
Yeah.
Well, they almost blew that game. That game and the 5th game in St. Louis when they had to beat St. Louis with Zito. Those were just.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I was nervous.
When they beat the Cardinals, you knew they weren't going to lose to the Tigers.
No.
Just no chance.
I didn't want it to go 4 straight though. I wanted to see
Poor
more
Tigers.
baseball.
They fade so badly in the postseason, don't they? Just really do.
Maybe
Channel 2 didn't want it to go 4 straight either. They were making $1 million a game.
I bet.
Gotta get Kirk Gibson back. You know what? They should have someone in the stands kind of do something. Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Then we'll get into the year in sports. Here.
Sure.
All right, we got. Okay. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn
The right-hander.
and Bruce
I was
McGowan.
going to say the left-hander, but I do throw right-handed.
You do throw. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. When we cut to the second commercial break, and again the theme is the Rose Bowl history. We asked this question along with USC's John McKay, which head coach shared the record for the most consecutive Rose Bowl appearances.
I'm going to say Bo Schembechler.
I'm going to go Bo Schembechler, too.
Yeah.
Actually, you had it right before.
Woody Hayes?
Break. Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes.
Iowa State.
Ah.
Do you guys remember Woody punching the Clemson
Yeah.
linebacker?
Oh, yeah, of
Charlie
course.
Charlie
Bauman?
Bauman, yeah.
Yep, 1978 Gator Bowl. That was, oh man, that was so funny. I
What, he
watched that on YouTube
intercepted a
again.
pass or recovered a fumble, and he was coming off the
Yeah,
field.
he
and
punched him.
yeah, he came up and he kind of clotheslined him
Oh,
with
yeah.
his elbow.
And I don't know how much he
Yeah.
got fined, but Mike Tomlin gets fined $100,000.
Fine, he got
putting his
fired.
foot
He got
on the
fired,
field.
yeah. I remember George
Yeah, that's right,
Atkinson,
he did.
the Raider, great defensive back for the Raiders, who was a tough guy, told me, hey, he learned that from me. That was my move.
Yeah.
You know, the clothesline.
Clothesline,
Yeah, yeah.
So that was great having Brian Price
Yeah.
on the phone. The Cincinnati Reds. Okay, so now because this is January 4th, we had a nice full year, 2013.
Is it time for the Sports Econ 101 Awards?
It is.
Ah.
Take it away, Vern. What do you think?
Well, what do I have?
Oh.
I don't have the list in
Oh,
front of me.
here we
Let's
are.
see.
Here we are.
What we got here? Oh, so
Bruce wrote all over.
all right,
it.
should we go? All right, so it looks like we got 3 categories.
Okay.
The first one's male athlete of the year, the
All right.
female athlete of the year, and the teen/moment
Mm,
of
okay,
the year. So
okay.
which one first?
I'm going to go with male athlete of the year.
Okay, we'll go male.
Okay.
All right, male athlete of the year.
And,
Okay.
my pick is LeBron James.
Okay. Well, let me read the
Okay.
list
Oh,
since the
sorry.
audience is
Sorry.
not
Yeah.
in tune with
Jeez.
what we're doing.
Okay.
All right, so here's the list. It's a list of 5 in no particular order. LeBron James,
Okay.
Floyd Mayweather,
I've heard of him.
Miguel Cabrera,
I know him.
Sebastian Vettel,
Mhm.
and Russell Wilson of the
Who
Seattle
is
Seahawks.
Sebastian Vettel?
Sebastian Vettel. Let me
Yeah,
tell you about this
soccer?
guy.
Soccer?
He is a German Formula One driver,
Oh,
but he's
right.
more than just that.
I should know this.
This
Mike.
guy
Yeah.
was the world champion Formula One driver in 2009, 10, 11, 12, and this year. This guy
Wow.
cannot be beaten. He had a consecutive, in this year alone, he had a consecutive win streak of 9 straight
Wow.
wins,
Wow.
including one that was just down in Austin, Texas, not too long ago. For whatever reason, this guy cannot be beat. He had a tremendous
My father-in-law. I was
2013.
going to say my father-in-law would be very proud of you, Vern, because he is a huge Formula One guy, and I shouldn't have known.
That's a very inexpensive sport too, by the way.
Oh,
And while we're throwing out stats on these nominees, Russell Wilson,
Russell
Seattle
Wilson,
Seahawks,
sure.
Yeah.
got a passer rating of 105,
wow.
got 24 touchdowns, only 8 picks.
Mhm.
He's led his team to the best record in the National Football League.
Nice guy too.
Cannot be beaten
No.
at home. Nice
No.
guy.
Yeah.
Never heard anything bad about him. And
No.
he just got drafted in Major League Baseball.
That's right.
Yeah,
I read about
just
that.
happened just a few days ago.
I'm
For
still gonna go-
pitcher? As a pitcher?
As an infielder, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. Miguel
Wow.
Cabrera, Detroit Tigers. Of course, the 2012
Beautiful
MVP.
Yeah.
And then in 2013, he had unbelievable numbers: 44
Yeah.
home runs, 135 RBI. One of the most feared, dangerous, certainly mistake hitters
Yeah.
of our generation for the Tigers. Floyd Mayweather, 45-0.
Mm.
Locally, Robert the Ghost Guerrero gave it a try in May. In fact, he made Robert the Ghost Guerrero a millionaire off of that round. Won that one, and then he just won just a few days ago another. I mean, the guy. I mean, say what you want about Floyd Mayweather, love him, hate him, whatever. I mean, the guy just doesn't lose.
No, he doesn't lose.
And then LeBron James, of course, he's just
Unstoppable.
every year
Yeah.
you just pencil his name in next to
Yeah.
the MVP of
when is
the
he-
NBA.
Okay, so now when is he going to be put in the same breath with Michael Jordan?
You
When
know,
he wins 6.
Yeah, when he wins.
I mean, he's in the discussion. He's in the neighborhood.
Well,
Yeah.
Kobe.
But that's not
but
fair
he's got
because it's a team sport. I mean, he could be the best guy. I mean, Will Chamberlain was the best. You know, I thought.
You put him with Kobe, though? Kobe's won 5.
I know, yeah.
Kobe's won 5.
Yeah. But LeBron is what, 27, 28?
at the most.
He looks and acts like a guy who's well into his 30s.
I mean,
So
he
he's
came
played
into
for
the
some
league in
years, at
2003.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's been in the league
18,
10
right?
years.
Yeah.
11 years. He was 18 when he came
And,
in.
he's been at the top
Wow.
of his game. So these are, I mean, this is a
I'm going with
this is
LeBron.
a huge. You're going with
I'm
LeBron
going
James.
with LeBron. I can't. As much as I like Russell Wilson, he's starting to make his move forward. Cabrera, his team doesn't win. Mayweather, I'm sorry, I'm not a boxing fan. And Sebastian Vettel, hey, great story, Vernon, but I'm going with LeBron.
There are some that think that drivers are not athletes.
That's BS.
No, I don't agree with.
I don't agree with that at all.
I mean, you don't see any fat ones out there.
No, you don't.
You get it.
All the waterway
get
kilos.
yourself into one of those cars and drive around for 5 hours with that kind of stress and tension.
And Russell Wilson's 25. He's got time.
He's got time. And Floyd Mayweather, great. I'm just not a big boxing guy, so I'm going to defer to somebody else who's a boxing fan.
All right, I'm with that. I'm with you, Bruce. I go LeBron James.
Yeah.
Edward?
You know, I'd love to disagree because it'd be kind of fun, but
Mhm.
I actually got to agree with you on that. I would say, you know, again, for the same reason, I'm not a big boxing fan.
Yeah.
I mean, 45 and is it 45 now?
45 and
45.
So I mean, gosh, you're like a Rocky Marciano type.
He is.
Yeah, and for a guy, you know, you fight twice a year. That's a lot.
Yeah, but
You
the
know.
thing is, see, now that's a good.
But he's
point.
37 years old.
Wow.
Okay, now we're talking the year 2013. Now,
Right.
if you said of the decade, then maybe you look at all 45 fights. Here,
Yeah.
you're talking 2 fights in 1 year.
Yeah.
So that part, I think you do have to kind of throw him out
Okay.
just for that, because
Good
anybody
point.
can win 2 fights in 1 year.
All right, so it's unanimous.
It's
The
LeBron.
Sports Econ 101 2013 Male Athlete of the Year, LeBron
And
James.
we should
We'll have to have him on the show.
Yeah, we'll get him on the phone.
That's
There
right.
you go.
Tell him congratulations. You've won.
You've won the
Sports Econ.
award.
That's right.
What's the
And I'm
actual
sure
award?
tears will be in his eyes
yeah.
once he finds out
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
that he got this honor.
Definitely.
All right, so next we have the Female
Mm,
Athlete of the Year, and here is the list.
okay.
Serena Williams,
Great pick.
Missy Franklin,
Oh, yeah.
Abby Wambach,
Abby Wambach.
Candace Parker, and the fastest woman in the world, Shelley Ann Fraser-Price. And if you don't know that name, she is the female Usain Bolt.
Oh, there you go.
She's Jamaican.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. My wife is pretty darn fast, especially when I'm chasing her around the table.
Yeah, well, yeah. Or when she's chasing you with a
Right.
rolling pin.
Yeah. Watch out there.
Actually,
Edward.
that, you're right.
That
That's
might be
better.
more true.
That's true.
But we'll start with a terrific year. I mean, hardly ever loses. And 10.7 is her time for 100 meters.
Wow.
I mean, the woman is fat at 100, 60 meters,
How old
200
is
meters.
this gal?
She's mid-20s.
Okay, she's in her prime.
All right, so let's go to Candace Parker, the MVP of 2012. But this year, she didn't put up the same numbers, but she still averaged 25.7 points per game in the series loss to Arizona. And
WNBA.
in the WNBA,
Right.
she's also the WNBA All-Star MVP,
Mhm.
and just pretty much following up a great collegiate career when she was a 2-time Player of the Year in college.
Mhm.
So Candace Parker from the LA Sparks for the WNBA is on the list. Abby Wambach, no woman has more soccer goals in the history of women's
Is that
soccer,
right?
period,
Wow.
than Abby Wambach.
Now, how did you do in 2013? Because we're talking 2013.
In
How many-
2013, she led the Western New York team of the W Women's Professional Soccer League. She's now in the finals, going on right now. Off the field, had a fantastic, married her teammate, so congratulations, nuptials to her. But she's just a human scoring machine. Probably the greatest soccer player going.
Mm.
Missy Franklin, 2012 Olympian, great year. Followed up in 2013, going to Cal, and as a freshman, has set the world record in the 200-meter freestyle. She's already the world record holder in the 200-meter backstroke. And she is about to, she's on the USA team. They're about to go to a international event down in Tennessee in the next couple of weeks. But she has remained at the top of her game. And she's only 18 years old.
Yeah.
18 years old.
Can an 18-year-old win the 2013?
If an 18-year-old can win the Heisman Trophy, then
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm going to have to go with Serena, though.
and then we got
Yeah.
Serena Williams, the #1 ranked player in the world. And if you just look at the numbers her year, 78-4,
Yeah.
11 titles, and 2 Grand Slams.
And how old is she, too? She's in her 30s.
In her 30s. Yeah.
Well into her 30s.
She won the French Open, won the U.S. Open, and made it to the 4th round at Wimbledon, which he's also won numerous times.
Yeah.
Got bounced out a little bit in the Australian Open, but
With those stats, you got to get.
I got to go
But,
with Serena. Yeah.
we're going Serena Williams?
Yeah.
I got to go with
Yeah,
Serena.
I
And you know,
gotta
it's funny, when she broke in, too, she was right behind her sister, and her sister was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Oh,
Venus
yeah.
was very-
Venus
I
Williams.
actually covered Venus's first pro match. It was at the Oakland Coliseum in the Virginia Slims women's event, and this is back in the late 80s or something, early 90s. But Serena, I think, has gone so far past her sister.
I can remember
Yeah,
that. I remember her pro debut, Venus Williams' pro debut. It was in Oakland, California.
Yeah, that's right.
And I remember at the time, Richard Williams said, "Hey, you think she's something?
Wait,
There's a
till
little
you-
sister
sister.
Now,
that
what-
comes by,
that-
and the guy was a prophet."
What's the age difference?
about 3 or 4
3 or
years.
4
something
years?
like that, yeah.
Wow.
So, and Serena, Venus at the time was about 17, so this is
17 years old,
so
and lately, has kind of had an injury-prone career.
She's in her late 30s now. Most women tennis players quit by the time they're in their early 30s, and Serena and Venus are still going. At least Serena's going strong. 35 now? 34? She's amazing.
She is amazing. So
Yeah.
there it is, the Sports Econ 101 2013 Female Athlete of the Year, Serena Williams.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Serena and LeBron got married?
Had a baby?
Oh my
Whoa,
God!
go.
Oh my God!
Look out.
Look out!
All right, so now we've entered the team moment of the year. Here's the list. The 2013 Boston Red Sox.
Great story.
Okay, great,
Yep.
terrific story. The
Yeah.
way they just stormed right on through. I did not think they were going to get past the Detroit
I
Tigers,
didn't think
but
they
they
were
did in
Couldn't
the
imagine
ALCS.
them even winning the division. You know, after having a terrible year in 22, they were last place.
Unbelievable,
Well,
unbelievable.
once they won the division, I actually thought they were
Really?
going to get past.
Kind of like the Giants in
They were just going to get on a roll and start something, but man.
But the Cardinals, man, I mean, that was an interesting series too. A little
It
controversy,
was.
too.
It was.
Here's one, September 26th of this year, Bruce.
Mm.
Yankees closer Mo Vaughn in his final appearance.
Not Mo Vaughn, but
I'm sorry, Mariano Rivera.
Mariano Rivera.
Mariano Rivera.
Mo Vaughn is a likable guy, though.
Right, Mariano Rivera, September 26th, and Derek Jeter.
Mm.
They said that him and his team, they went out to get him.
That's right.
Yeah, remember that?
That's
And
right.
And then he broke down right on the pitcher's
that
mound
was a great
at
moment.
Yankee Stadium. It
Yeah.
was a terrific. You get
Yeah.
chills
Yeah.
watching that. But and his career started 1997 in
Yeah.
Oakland
Wow.
as a starter.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. Mariano Rivera. Auburn Tigers immaculate deflection
Mm.
to beat Georgia.
Remember that one?
What a last play of the game for
Yeah.
Auburn. The guy throws it up, tip, lands into the hands of the receiver, runs it for the touchdown. They beat Georgia,
Mm.
and they get on a roll. And that's followed up by Chris Davis 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
the game-winning touchdown to beat the #1 ranked Alabama Crimson
Okay, and
Tide.
when we come back from commercial break, we will vote on those from among
And
those
USC's
that-
Jadeveon Clowney is hit
Oh yeah,
and they,
that was in the early. That was in the
Yeah.
early. in the-
January
yeah.
1st
Oh, that's
of this
awesome.
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
when we come back,
Okay.
we're going to get into we'll vote on that because I have some YouTube videos.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so again, the theme is we're ready for some serious college football. So it's the Rose Bowl history. Here's the third and final trivia question: which Michigan quarterback who played in 3 Rose Bowls later played Major League Baseball?
Oh, I know that one.
Don't say anything.
He played for the Giants.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Which Michigan quarterback who played in 3 Rose Bowls, that's pretty good out of 4 years, later played Major League Baseball? Make sure to include your name and your email address. And when we come back, we are going to answer that question. And we'll also YouTube the answer to the Sports Econ 101 Play of the Year. Don't touch that dial, Sports Econ. We'll be right back.
Rick
That's
Leach,
what it
right?
Rick
And
Leach.
Rick Leach had
True.
some kind of
Rick
drug
Leach.
problem. Remember, he had a drinking problem or a
Yeah.
was a drug problem. He had to
Oh,
go into
that's right.
rehab. He wasn't a very good baseball player,
Yeah.
but he was a fun guy to have in the clubhouse. I forget God, the Giants have had somebody interesting. Gary Carter was here for a short time.
Yeah.
Quisenberry was here for a
Mhm.
short time.
Oh,
Quisenberry.
that's right, Quisenberry.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Quisenberry,
submarine
nice
pitcher.
guy.
Yeah.
My favorite guy though of all time is Rod Beck. What a
Shooter.
poor guy. He was
Scruffy. What did he die of? Just a heart attack? Or-
just too many. He did too many drugs. That was, he had the most wonderful wife and the sweetest kids, and he just had this terrible substance abuse problem that got out of hand.
Did they live in an RV or something like that?
Yeah, he was living in an RV. He
Yeah.
was pitching for Iowa, and he lived in the RV out beyond center field, and he'd invite fans into his RV after the game to have a beer with him, and they talk baseball. And
Did he just lose all his money?
No, he had a drinking problem. He had a drug problem. And if you ever talked to him, he was one of the most intense, emotional people, and he was very, very approachable and likable. And he had no defenses. You'd go up to him, and he would just immediately warm up to you.
I mean, there were guys like him and even Rob Nen when they were on, unhittable.
But the thing was, Rob Nen was a great pitcher. This guy was not a great pitcher, but he had guts. He just won on guts and guile because he didn't have a great fastball. He had this little split
Well, like
finger thing.
Sergio Romo, he doesn't have a fastball.
No, but he's got that slider. Yeah.
And the mullet.
That's right, the mullet.
That's right.
The mullet.
Okay, so I've got both of those YouTube ones. Which one do you want to go with?
We'll play the play the immaculate deflection first. Now, actually, are we in agreement that the Chris Davis play is the play
I
of the
think
year?
that's played.
Yeah.
We should play. Yeah, cue that one up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cue that one up.
You got the Auburn announcer? That's really funny.
That's
what
that makes it.
Great call.
That makes it.
What I'm going to do then?
Because on the YouTube they have the radio call of the Auburn announcer and
Yes,
married to the video, which is great.
Yeah.
So I think we should come back, just quickly breeze through it and go. And our pick of the year is.
And then I'll just play it.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay, so we'll answer the trivia question first. Okay, ready? Here we go. Because this is short. It's only 2 minutes 30 seconds, so I can only play so much of this.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'll just figure that out. Okay, ready? Go. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Bruce McGowan.
Yes, sir.
When we cut to the third commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Again, it's Rose Bowl history. Which Michigan quarterback who played in 3 Rose Bowls later played Major League Baseball?
It was Rick Leach.
Rick Leach,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Played for the
78,
Giants.
79,
Yeah.
and 77, 78, 79 Rose Bowls. Played for
That's
the
right.
Giants, Tigers, Blue Jays, and
That's
Rangers.
right.
Okay, when we cut to the break, we were talking about the most exciting play for the year of 2013.
Yeah, we had talked about this list. We were going down, and we talked about the Boston Red Sox. Great year.
Okay, let's just play it and let's let the fans just hear.
Well,
right?
Well, let me just
go
set it
ahead.
up.
Go
Let
ahead.
me just
Okay,
set
go
it up.
Go ahead.
We had talked about the 2013 Boston Red Sox. We talked about Mariano Rivera when he said goodbye to baseball. We talked about the Tigers, Auburn Tigers' immaculate deflection to beat Georgia. We talked about briefly the South Carolina's Davian Clowney that hit on Vincent Smith playing against Michigan in the Outback Bowl. And then the Chris Davis game-winning touchdown for Auburn to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And the winner is?
And the winner is?
And the winner is? How come it's not playing? That's why. Okay. Holy smokes. Okay, you know what? The winner is the Chris Davis. I had these silly computer.
Had it queued up, and the
Sorry about
computer
that.
locked up.
Okay.
Locked up. Okay.
What a great call, though, by the Auburn announcer. If you go to YouTube, look it up, Google Auburn's last second win, and they'll have the Auburn announcer, radio announcer, married to the TV video of it, and it's just a great call. The Auburn announcer.
And I think what added to it was nobody saw it coming.
No,
it was the #1 Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
Okay, trying just a hellacious field goal.
Yeah, it's like
and if he makes it, great.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, then that's okay too, because the Tide was just going to just run it out.
That's it.
And then they had a bunch of guys on the field who couldn't tackle.
Yeah, couldn't
And so Auburn sent the guy back there, Chris Davis,
Wins the game. The
and then
Iron Bowl.
109 yards later,
Okay.
boom.
Okay, guys, we're going to cut out here. Thoughts for the day. Tallulah Bankhead said there have been only 2 geniuses in the world, Willie Mays and Willie Shakespeare. I like that. And basketball coach Weldon Drew said, we have a great bunch of outside shooters. Unfortunately, all of our games are played indoors. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be talking sports from a business perspective, giving away more vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, your host.
Have a great year, America.
We'll catch you next week. So long.
All right.